to have joined. Thank you for the purpose of this meeting. Lord, we commit this time into your hands and we pray that others will be able to join us and that the purpose for which this meeting has been slotted will be achieved. We pray for your blessing upon each one of us and upon the plans, especially for the conference. That, Lord, everything will work out well, that from now on things will get towards attending for the glory of your holy name. Father, thank you for those who are going to lead us in this meeting. We pray that you'll guide them and that you'll bless them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. Once again, good morning to you all, fellow Oakseed. I expected a bigger number, and I pray that they're able to join in, because I think we had about 22 or 23 people that confirmed attendance. And I imagine there are others who plan to attend, who don't press confirmation or follow those things. So let's just pray that they get to attend, because this is really organized to connect with as many Oakseeds as possible, especially those who might be out there with different questions about the conference and all of that, to ensure that they come. My remarks will be simple and brief. We've organized this to help many Oakseeds that might be out there having questions about the conference. Is this conference worth it? Is it another of those conferences that we attend? I've had people ask me, why are we paying the same amount as foreign delegates? We're seeing those speakers, seeing political speakers. Why that panel of people? It's very important that we have a session, a pre-session, and maybe we could organize another, again, to just attract and share as much as we possibly can with many of you, to have a good understanding of why are we organizing this? Why this theme? What has happened with previous STEP conferences? Has anything great come out of them? What's different about this particular conference in the way it is organized compared to the previous conferences? How do I get involved? What is my role? Is it just to attend? What else could be there for me to do? We've put this together as a knowledge sharing opportunity to share as much information as we possibly can, so that people have a good understanding of what the conference is about, answer any questions that might be out there lingering about the conference, so that you're all informed. We would need to have as many people as we possibly can attending this conference. It is different. And I'm glad that we have Dr. Magara, Deputy Director General for INT, in the room to share with us and give us more information about the conference. At this point, I'd like to say a big thank you to the team that's been, working tirelessly to ensure that this conference happens. The idea of the conference coming to Uganda happened less than a year ago. We'd gone for the STEP conference in Nigeria, and towards the end, a challenge was thrown to the Ugandan delegation. Is Uganda willing to host the conference next year? And if so, propose a theme. If we'd said no, this would have been in the US. The US was at hand to take it up, but we agreed. And then we came up with a theme around governance and systems. And it's because we truly believe this is very important for us. So I won't dwell much into that, but invite Dr. Magara to come through and share with us and give us a lot more detail about the conference. And thereafterwards, when we're done with this, some wonderful engagements were happening on the platform, on the main Oakseed platform, about digital awareness. And this is something that's been happening. But, Mike and Robert just kept sharing lots of things, and we're like, whoa, we didn't know about this. We didn't know about this. We didn't. And again, in the wake of the blasts in Israel, the people who were saying, should we actually keep these gadgets at all? What do we need to do? What do we need to be aware of? That is another opportunity that we will have, a gift that we have for you who are here today. So without further ado, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to invite Dr. James Magara to please come and take it on from here, give us more information, and answer as many questions as possible. Over to you, Dr. Magara.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chaka, our president. Thank you for convening us to talk about the conference. Let me just get my staff settled. Getting this right. Okay. I think I should give you. This is really going to be more conversational as Oakseed. It's not a presentation as such, but a lot more conversational. And hopefully we'll have, well, then at the end, we should have some time of question and answer so that you get a good picture of what is happening. I'll begin by giving background. INT began in 2008. You've heard me tell the story of my meeting with Professor Vincent in 2007 in Accra, Ghana. And I was a speaker at the conference, and I didn't really, I'd never met him before. So when we came back to Uganda, we had been organizing another training program called SALT. And we just thought that as we were concluding that training program, we would invite a guest speaker to come in and take a week of teachings on leadership. And we reached out. He was in the US at that time. It was actually, I didn't know it was in transition, coming back to Nigeria. So we took a chance and invited him through the board chair of the Intercessors for Africa. And to our surprise, he said yes. So he came. And we had a very profound series of meetings. At that time, he just came as Professor Vincent actually was operating under JC Quality, which was a private company had registered. Now, through that meeting, again, to cut this a very long story short, a connection happened, which ended up inviting him back that same year in 2007 to the National Prayer Breakfast, which he made a very big impact, the Parliamentary Prayer Breakfast. And the president actually asked that he be invited again. Bring him, call him again next year. But then also was invited back to deal with some issues in December that year. He came back, and when he came back in December, I hosted him, and that's when he told me about this thing he was putting together called Institute for National Transformation. We had a curriculum, a draft curriculum, and all that. It was the following year, in 2008. Now, in Nigeria, they had already launched. They launched in 2007. Right from the beginning, there was an understanding that over the years, as people graduate from the training, an alumni group will be formed. We didn't know what it would look like, but I just said, well, something will be formed, and that platform will be a platform where various other things could happen. One of the things that was mooted then is that we would have, there would be meetings biannually or once in 3 years. Again, when you're beginning, you're not too sure. But biannually, there would be a meeting that would bring together alumni from different countries, because Nigeria started fast, and through divine providence, Uganda came on board, and the training took off in Uganda, then took off in Rwanda and Kenya. Kenya and Rwanda, it's told, and it's now South Africa as well, and then Ivory Coast. They've done some work in Senegal. I've been to the UK once or twice to teach in some of the classes there, and in the US as well. So INT began opening these different chapters across the nations. But we're moving a bit too fast for our growth, I think. So some things did not move as fast as was anticipated initially. But then in 2011, Uganda was asked to host the first alumni conference. There's the very first one, yes, 2011. And we hosted that conference here. Some of you may remember at Silver Springs Hotel. And this is a gathering, a platform where alumni from different nations come together. Remember, the vision for INT is beyond the nations. It's actually Pan-African. It's not only Pan-African, it is beyond Pan-African, because it's, well, maybe Pan-African includes the diaspora, yes. The vision is much, much bigger, but it's moving in stages. So we hosted that conference, and I don't have all the themes in front of me. From that time, it was more or less biannual. We hosted another conference, 2013, I believe it was in Nigeria, when we had Miles Monroe just a short while before he graduated to glory. And then, you know, we've had other meetings since then. There was one in the US, which I also attended. So last year, I'll fast forward, the COVID period, travel became very difficult during that time. And as you know, there was not much happening. I think there was a time when there was an attempt to host a virtual conference. But last year, there was a conference hosted in Nigeria. We were represented. I think there were about 5 of us: Isaac, Apofia, President Chaka, myself, Lorna was there as well, my wife. We attended this conference in Akwa Ibom. The focus was agripreneurship. We need to see the Institute for National Transformation as a growing movement. And the goal is really to impact our continent and our people for this generation, to bring them out of the situations we're in into a new place. That is, and because of that, there will always be new things happening. It's not just the INT course, you know, fossiled. It's fossiled. We know when something becomes a fossil, it stays the same. It doesn't change. So even now, there are new things happening, because as you move from one level, new things evolve, and you've got to keep looking at the opportunities that are there and taking them. So the alumni conference provides an opportunity for people from different countries to meet. And also, it provides a very big opportunity for the locals, the hosting country, to showcase what it's doing. Because typically you'd expect that because of the challenges of travel and the cost of travel, most of the people who attend will naturally come from the country hosting. So it's very important that as we come towards this conference, we ourselves are present in good numbers. We have done quite a bit of training in Uganda, and we know that based on statistics from universities, it is said that when you have any kind of training course, like universities is 3 years, you know. If you get 10 or 15% alumni involvement, you're doing very, very well. Because people get training and move on in life. And we know our calling is to equip people and let them, you know, do what God has called them to do. So, but at the same time, when we come together like this can be like a bit of a homecoming. So what we are really doing today is to, one, let you know the details of what's happening with the conference, but two, also appeal to you, one, to attend, and two, to spread the word among your colleagues, your class, people you attended class with, alumni that you know. This is our chance, our opportunity to host this conference. And we need to be there. We cannot be hosting, and it's okay. I know that sometimes you can't disengage from what you're doing, and you may, as we know, there'll be an online option as well. But being there in person and planning and preparing to be there is something that would really boost your contribution, but also your experience of what is going to take place in Uganda, and also to contribute to the growth of what God is doing through this platform. This is definitely a platform that God raised, and we can, all of us here will be testimony, because it has impacted our lives in many big ways. Now, I thought that the best way to take us through this time is to show you the conference website. Let me just get it up here, share it, and we can walk through it. So let me just reduce something here. Let's begin from home, which is where we are. Yep, I think my thing is a bit slow. So you probably have seen this logo on this infographic, which has been shared. We are focusing on governance and the power of systems. Last year, we focused on agripreneurship. And out of that conference, the reason we went to Akwa Ibom State, which is about, I can't remember, about an hour's flight from Lagos, was because God had opened the door for Professor Vincent to connect with the governor of that state in Nigeria, but also the university. And they developed a program. They developed a program that was took youth through using the INT model or modifications of it for training together with the university. The INT provider was providing the mindset change aspect. The university was providing the technical training, and they were able to get youths trained in a short period, about 3 to 6 months. I can't remember the exact length of time, and equip them and get them straight into the market, with businesses, agribusinesses. And the impact was quite tremendous. All the people who went through that program are running their own businesses, and employing. It provided a short way of getting youth productive for themselves, but also providing employment. So it's a model which was piloted there, and a model which, for your information, doors opened here in Uganda. Out of that conference, a meeting was held with the Honorable Minister of Science, Technology, and Innovation, by the who also was part of that conference, and INT leadership, plus some other people who are involved in funding. And a decision was made to explore how that would work in Uganda. Now, the direct result of that is that a door opened here with Busitema University. And the reason Professor Vincent is not with us this morning is because he's actually speaking at their convocation. If you may not be aware, Professor Vincent has actually moved to Uganda. So that was a result of that meeting, that conference. He moved here. He'll be here for at least 3 years. Now, bringing that same model to Busitema University, they're training youths in Eastern Uganda, using that very same model. Youths are being chosen from a number of districts. I don't have the exact number. They'll be taken through that same training, or at least modified training, mindset change, and university providing technical skill, so that you know how money has been put in many different things and nothing shows. But what the Akwa Ibom State, what the Nigerian training showed was that when youth are trained properly, and there's an element of that mindset and putting them in an environment where you're going, it's an HMT, it's like a long HMT. Something changes, something shifts, and this has been shown again and again. And once they get into business, even if they get loans to run their farms or whatever they are running, chicken projects or piggeries, or they actually do well. They do well. So this model is now being run, and that is opening up all kinds of other opportunities for INT in the country. So that was last year. It was agripreneurship. This year, we're looking at governance and the power of systems, exploring how systems thinking and collaborative leadership can transform decision-making and strategic execution and interconnected world. So the whole thing of highlighting building systems. And as you've attended our trainings, systems are key to providing sustained impact. So that is what it's really Pointing to. As you can see, it's being hosted in Speak Munyonyo Peak Resort, Munyonyo. And the dates are 28th October to 2nd November. 28th is a Tuesday. Let me just confirm that. It's a Tuesday. I'll go through the program to give you an idea of what is going to happen there. It's 20th a Monday. So it's a Monday arrival. And second is when it ends, but departure is actually on the 3rd of November. So from the Monday, now Monday is arrival day. For us here in Uganda, on Monday, we already arrived. So the others will be arriving. But it would be nice to, where you can be available to welcome people into our country. So the first full day is actually Tuesday, 29th of October. And as you can see, we have 37 days, 7 hours, 4 minutes, and right now 28, 27, 26, 25 seconds. Time is ticking away. So it's time now to get our hands on deck. Again, some of you may be wondering what the STEP conference is about. You can see the acronym here. It was derived from Strategic Transformation and Empowerment Platform. Initially, it was called the Alumni Conference. Then when we hosted in Nigeria, they came up with this branding, okay? It's a practical nation building workshop for leaders who are ready to engage in the spheres of their calling for impact. Talking about governance and systems that affects every sphere. So while entrepreneurship, some people say, for us, we're not in agriculture. This one affects every single sphere, okay? And so we are hosting it. We are drawing out a wide range. It's going to be beyond the alumni. We had a bit of a back and forth on how the conference should run. Initially, we thought of having a workshop approach that would have been more closed in, but eventually we decided to open it up. So we'll have some people attending who are not alumni. So that's the kind of environment. It's really speaking on a broader level, speaking out the nation, as it were. You can, when you go there, you can click on Learn More, and there's more information when you go there. There's an introduction message from Professor Vincent, and also an introduction. Somebody's mic is on. Please turn your mics off until we invite you to turn them on. Yeah, so a background on Africa, then the objectives for the conference, exploring the relationship between governance, systems thinking, and the potential for national transformation. Also sharing best practices, innovation solutions, and success stories, alumni success stories, multi-sector dialogues to break down the silos and promote collaboration. And we do expect some policymakers, practitioners, and leaders. Some of you may have attended the other conference we hosted. Again, it was more recent. It was 2011, then we hosted 2019, which we hosted in Mistil Hotel. The focus of that one was education, and African futures, which, again, we partnered with the Ministry of Education and made a lot of high-level engagements and made some recommendations as well. Okay. So these are pictures from the previous conference where we also hosted Dr. Tom Rudnick from Calgary, Canada. And so day one, we have foundations of system thinking. That's a broad theme for day one, the foundations, the theories, and all that. And day two is strategies for influencing systems. That's a broad theme. Day three is developing and deploying critical systems for Africa's qualitative economic leap in the 21st century. And day four is building coalitions and partnerships. Okay. Again, I'm just walking you through this because this information really will give you a very broad frame. I know that often we don't have time to really go through this, but since you're now a captive audience for some time, let's look at them. So who should attend includes you. Please make sure you attend and make sure you make arrangements for that. It's at Speak Resort Munyonyo. Now I'll go back now we can let me see if I've finished everything on the program. So you can look at this at your leisure later. I'm just pointing out to you some of the work that has been done here. Time is ticking, as you can see there. I will also, INT, you know about, Oakseed, you know about, so I won't go there. Let's just go through the hosts here. The chief hosts are Professor Vincent, the Deputy Director General, the host there. I'll talk a bit about some of the speakers. There is a partnership with the STI ministry. So we expect Oakseed, Dr. Monica Musenero, to be there, and also another Oakseed, Dr. Dorothy Kisaka, Mrs. Dorothy Kisaka will be opening up the conference. We have a very special guest speaker who has been associated with INT, and he's spoken at conferences before. He's the Vice President for Economic Development and Knowledge Management, African Development Bank, Abidjan. He'll be here for about 10 days. There are a number of things they're bringing, ideas they want to explore for Uganda, together with some other alumni associates. So some of them are alumni from from Canada, or from US, Africans who are in the diaspora in Europe and the US. Dr. Micah Devier they've really founded, the one who launched Professor Vincent to Africa. He's based in Atlanta, Georgia, but also spends a lot of time in Nigeria. He's a Nigerian. He will also be speaking on the return on investment. Now, Dr. Mark Bilelis, I need to talk a bit about. There's another group that INT is forming partnership with, and that is Global Council of Nations. He does a lot of training on transformation of nations. They have a lot of resource because they have been working in many different nations and fostering kingdom transformation in Asia, and INT is getting into partnership with them. They have a lot of courses they do as well. So they'll be here. The Global Transformation Network will be here, and they will be attending their after the conference. I think it's on Saturday. They'll be holding their own meeting in the same venue. Mrs. Catherine Gallagher is from California. She'll also speak at the conference. Dr. Tony Ikeme is one of Nigerians based in the US. You are probably aware that Nigeria, if I've got it correctly, I think it's correct. Nigeria has the highest number of PhDs. Nigerian Americans are probably the most highly qualified of any ethnic group. They're doing a lot of waves there, and they also have an organization among themselves. There's several organizations. So this is one of them. Is coming in. They have certain interesting things they've also been doing, which they want to connect with here. Locally, we also have Mr. Robogo Odrek, who's a creative communication specialist. And he'll be speaking specifically on opening markets. As you are aware, his designation involves opening markets for coffee. So we'll be sharing experience on that in one of the sessions. Some images there. I think the platform has sponsorship packages. I'm just going to follow the website. The packages, we've been looking for sponsors and people would partner with us. I think we've got some, but you may know people. It's not too late yet. We have Joshua in the Joshua Tsingwire on the call. He's been helping us with the marketing aspect. Okay, so I'm going to go back now to, let me just see. I want to where do I want to get? I want to navigate here. I do want to go this down here I'm looking for. So 2024, this we have gone through already. Let's talk about the program. The program for the event in a bit more detail. I mentioned that Monday is the arrival day. Actually, Sunday will be the arrival day for the International Governance Council. Now, the way INT is organized, there is a council, an international council, which involves people from different nations. And that council, headquarters has been in Atlanta, Georgia, but for your information, Uganda is becoming the headquarters. more details will be given. Uganda is becoming a core point, central point for a lot of operations. So there will be the International Governance Council coming from different nations will arrive on Sunday. Then on Monday, when the other delegates are arriving, we will be holding a meeting. There's quite a bit of restructuring going on. The organization has grown from 2008, where it was initially conceived and mooted. The number of changes have taken place. So there's a reorganization. Some of these things will be announced in the conference. So that Monday, as others are arriving, the whole day, the council will be having its meeting. But Monday, as I said, is a major day of arrival. Not sure if something will be organized in the evening. There may be something organized in the evening for delegates. That will be confirmed. The meeting venue is Munyonyo, but those coming from out, not all of them will stay there. Those who want to stay there can stay there, but there are also other neighboring hotels have been recommended for them to make their bookings. Welcome remarks. I won't go into all the details here, but there'll be a welcome session, and then we begin with the major theme for the day: foundation of systems, governance and the power of systems. The chief guest for the opening is expected to be, has been invited. It will be the executive director of Kampala Capital City Authority. There's building transformative leadership for accelerated economic growth in Africa. Kevin Orama will be around. So Kevin Orama, the vice president of the African Development Bank. We also hope to be getting into some, partnerships or some MOUs with ADB. Both the president and vice president are well known to INT. And then fundamentals of systems thinking. And one of the things we're also looking at is looking at how systems have had an impact locally. Most of you will be aware about what's happening in the Ministry of Internal Affairs. If you've tried to get a passport before and then, they've implemented something that has made the whole thing a lot better. Okay. And then there'll be evening sessions. Evening sessions, the initial idea, and I think it may still be, it will be confirmed, this evening session is really open to the public, such as public engagement. So this is an opportunity to invite others who may not be in the conference, but they want to attend, or they just come in for the evening and attend that session. So that's day one, overview of day one. Day two, we are looking at strategies for influencing systems. There are some things not on the program here, which will be done because the meeting is very open, but to even non-INT people. But there'll be other things for those who are near in the exercise, prayer time, and so on. Those things will happen before the session begins. So we have a session on critical systems that Africa must build, mobility and productivity acceleration, and then pathogen economy. This day is really focusing a lot on internally what has been happening at STI. Oakseed, Honorable Dr. Monica Musenero and her team are doing some things that many of us are not aware about. They'll be talking about these things. And then you have agricultural development, natural resource. And the other story we would like to present is Ministry of Transport, the driver's license story. Again, it's an implementation of systems. And then the public engagement. These public engagements, we would really want to, we'll plan to what's the word? To advertise them separately also, because we expect other people to join. There'll be people, interest groups. For example, economists may want to attend this session when the vice president of Africa Development Bank is speaking. So the other people who may not be interested or are not able to attend the main sessions will be able to join us for those evening sessions. So we'd expect you to, once the information comes out, to also play a part. We are the hosts. We really hope through this meeting we will own this meeting, and will not come as, when something is happening at home, If you're hosting somebody in your house, you don't also come and sit as a visitor in the living room. No, you are busy, making sure everything is together. And this is really what our responsibility is as Oakseeds. We are hosting, yes, but let us not just come as guests also and just come and sit. Let's see what we can do in the remaining 37 days. Do everything we can as this gets more public and known. First of all, register as we're going to be taken through. And then be there, plan for your work days. If you don't plan for it, it won't happen. I've already canceled all my schedules. As you all know, I have a very busy schedule. But I've told all of them I'm not available that week. I'm going to be at a conference. Usually they think I'm going to a conference abroad, but the conference is local here. So please do the same as we plan for this. Then day 3 is developing and deploying critical systems for Africa's qualitative economic leap in the 21st century. So we have a plenary session on overcoming systems limiting exportation of African products abroad. So that's where I believe, if I remember correctly, that's where I saw Rob Ogle speak, because he's been in the trenches with that, coffee, all kinds of hassles and stuff, and they're opening up new markets. And then strategies for overcoming systems limiting Africa's pathogen economy. Then a panel discussion, influencing limiting internal and external systems. Systems at NITA Uganda, that's another story, which is local, which tells us how systems actually make things easier. I wish we had systems in everything, systems for transportation, systems for life would be much smoother, And then public engagement on strategies for overcoming systems limiting Africa's economy growth. Okay, day 4 is the key things there, considerations in building business partnerships. We have a panel discussion on effective networks, and then discussion on building partnerships and networks. When you think about systems, you're thinking about also networks, because they interlink, they work together. And then there's a wrap-up session in the afternoon. Part of the afternoon, there will be a business meeting for alumni. Okay. And then we have another public engagement, leadership ideologies and strategic collaborations by Dr. Mike Belilis from the USA. Right, so that gives you an overview. Day 5 is special in its own way. There are field trips and details will be known. One of them is a visit to Kira Motors. STI as in their partnership have made that available. They'll provide buses and stuff like that to go and see what's happening. The amazing things where these buses are being made in Uganda. You can go and see all this going on there. And the other options also which will be available. So that is really most of the day. At the same time, there will be I mentioned the governance, the Global Council of Nations will be holding their meeting on that day. So some people may stay for the meeting. But then we have a graduation. Now, I do hope the current class of INT, I haven't checked, so if I'm wrong, you'll correct me. But I do hope the current class that is concluding INT will be ready for graduation. It would be great to have them on that day. But we will be having a graduation, as you are all aware, the Oakseed, this is different from INT now, it's the Oakseed Alumni Association launched the governance class trainings. We're in cohort 4 now, and these have been very, very impacting trainings. The present class has about 30 people. And the one that finished this in June, we've delayed their graduation. They will be graduating that evening as well. So it will be a time of graduation, recognitions, awards. The people who will be honored and recognized on that day. It's an event you don't want to miss. I don't want you to miss the conference. I would like to be part of the conference, but certainly don't miss the graduation. It will be a dress-up event, and so please plan to be there for the graduation in the evening of Saturday. And once that is done, the conference will be over. Last year, decision was made that there will be a conference every year now. Of course, the biggest challenge is the challenge of transport, but there was a sense that we need to keep building this momentum, and the venue of that conference will be announced, and you can begin planning to be part of it. All right, so let me there's one more thing we need to do. Please help get people in the waiting room. That we're trying to come in the waiting room. Please get them in. Right, so that gives you an overview of the conference. And really, the big thing is an appeal for all of us to be there. We are the hosts. I know there are times when in homes where you're hosting visitors and you don't know you're hosting visitors. Sometimes you go and sit like a guest. But yes, we'll be guests, we'll be in the meeting, but let's remember this is really our turn to host. So if you have a badge saying Uganda, you're the host, and you're seen that way. So let's really make a good presence. And your presence there is not just being there in person. The contributions you'll make, the things you will learn will propel things forward in ways that you cannot imagine. I remember myself, there's one meeting, there's some meetings you think about, you go back and just say, my goodness, you know, what if I hadn't attended that meeting? And I'll tell you one, I mean, which concerns us right now. I've alluded to it. In 2007, I went with a group of us. So the meeting wasn't very big, but there was about 150, 200, maybe if there were many, there were 200 people. It was an Intercessors for Africa conference in Accra, Ghana. That meeting, you know, things happened. I listened to the INT lectures for the very first time. Some of them, it was about Singapore, which Professor Vincent was sharing. As you've heard me say several times, I went back to the hotel room and I couldn't sleep. That whole night, I tossed and tossed and tossed. And I didn't know, but I knew that I touched something and I didn't know what it was. You know, sometimes you have those experiences where you know you've hit something and it's significant, but you don't know what it is. Now I can look back now, 2007, we are in 2000 and what? And 24, that is 17 years ago. I keep wondering, what if I hadn't been in that place? Because the impact that came through me, to me, the impact that came through the, again, I became the link now, I became the bridge of bringing Professor here, bringing INT here, I acted as that bridge, and the lives that have been touched, the hundreds of lives, the organizations that have been impacted, I keep thinking, wow, it came out of that meeting. Now, there are times like that, and I believe this is one of those times where, you know, you are in the right place at the right time, and that is a trigger. It's like it's a trigger, or it's like an ignition of something that will have waves into the future. Waves into the future, even beyond you. The waves just keep going. And I believe we have that kind of opportunity now, so we need to be part of it. Let's not take it lightly. Something has been coming to us. We're not going to it, it is coming to us. One of the things that happened, again, just telling you of some of the spin-offs. One of the people who attended our governance cohort, I think it was cohort 2, was the current executive director of Uganda Airlines. Now, things are happening there. The doors that have been opened to take the training into the organization, to help them with their systems, with their implementation. Recently, Professor Vincent was around and I was invited to speak, and I wasn't able to attend. So I recommended he goes there. He spoke to them. The impact was huge. He was telling me the last time he traveled to Nigeria, everyone knew him from the counter. He was he was bumped up, you know, in travel. Or even the pilots knew him because he talked to all of them. And now Uganda Airlines is flying to Lagos, you know. So we've been able to arrange a group ticket, you know. They offer these group facilities. And so Uganda Airlines is flying the Nigerian delegation directly from Lagos to Uganda. So, I mean, there are a lot of spin-offs. One thing I've learned in life, and one thing I pray every day as the day begins, I say, Lord, help me to be in the right place at the right time. Because one chance, 30, even 1 minute meeting can be a connection that takes you to, opens an amazing door. So, as I conclude, this is not just 30 minutes, this is a whole week. It's a whole week of engagements on something that has already impacted your lives. And now it is something that is coming in a bigger way. Be there, be there, be there. Don't let it pass by. If you really can't be there in person, you can do the online and at least come for the evenings. But the best you can do is invest in that week and be there. Now, in terms of registration, is Robert Mutiaba on the call? I thought I saw him.
Yes, he is.
Isaac, what would you want? How do you want us to go through this? I can open the page.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just take you through it because sometimes these things intimidate us. So let's do this. Let's do it practically. I already registered. I don't know whether I have enough money on my thing. I don't want to embarrass myself. But I do hope I have enough money. If I don't, I'll do the thing later. I promise to register my wife. So I'm going to register my wife and take us through this. That doesn't take very long, as you're going to see. So if you have your phone and it's free, I encourage you to open it up now and let us click on the where is that link, Isaac? The link for the conference for this page.
Right on.
Okay, post it on the chat. So let's do it practically now, because one of the challenges we have with these conferences is people registering late and the people paying late. Now, I can understand the paying part. The paying part is you may not have the money. And all you need to pay for Ugandans is a registration fee, which is $100. If you look at that money is not going to cover this cost. So really, we are just making a contribution. The team led by Isaac has been working hard to ensure we have sponsors and things like that to ensure that we can attend the meeting at a minimal cost. So if you compare what you paid for INT, Oakseed training or governance training, whatever, this is not a big amount of money. But I do appreciate the fact that you know, finances may be tight, but at least register. If you're planning to be there, just register. It helps the team to know that this is the number coming. Right now, we have a situation which is just not good. The Nigerian registrations are more than Ugandans. I mean, that is really not acceptable. I think they're registered like 10 Uganda. I don't know, maybe the number has changed now. And that is not very encouraging for anyone else who gets to know what is going on. So at least if you're planning to be there, even for a day or whatever, just register. I've been told you can actually make the payment later, but let's go through the registrations. Best you make the payment as soon as possible because we also need that money to move through things. So let's move through it quickly. So Ugandan, if you've got to the page, I've given you time to get the page. Okay. If you got the page, we have the thing I'll do here is I'm a Ugandan delegate, so I'll register as a Ugandan delegate. I've already registered myself, so let's see if I can register my wife. Let's go through this. So I'll register as I'm going to register her as an Oakseed online delegate. The title, her title is Mrs. Enter the names here in full. Lona Magara. Our country is Uganda. Uganda, yes. Company name, what will I say? I'll enter her name as Vine organization. She could also say anti-Uganda or but this may be better for her marketing. Let me just type in the name. Ademi. Yes, position. It is not mandatory, but I'll say she's the principal. Let's use the word director, maybe better. No, let's use the word principal. You see the things you go through. Yes, okay. Her email is not this one. Her email is, I've got to remember the email. Let me do the time thing now. +256 772 706 289. Yes, I do remember our phone number. Yes, I remember the email now. It is principal, small number, principal at vicacademy.org. So that is done. Her cohort was class 1. The class project was the Vine Academy, Vine International Academy. What was her project? Academy. Now, if someone is not an Oakseed, they don't have to do that. Award received, I'm not very sure what that is. So Isaac will help with that. You don't have to put it there anyway. For planning purposes. Sorry?
You can write not applicable.
Not applicable. NA?
Yeah.
NA. Then reservation. She doesn't need one. She'll be residing in her home. Okay, but as you can see here, there are a number of other options that have been provided for people who coming from out. Do you wish to reserve a meal? For now, we'll say no. We can always do that later. Return ticket for international delegates, that doesn't apply. But again, for information's sake, Nigerians have those Uganda Airlines. We've talked to Uganda Airlines to arrange some stuff. How many days do we intend to attend? Not very sure about her now, but Isaac, I think I'll just say 5. Hoping she'll be able to disengage from all these other things, Makerere and so on.
So you've not selected Uganda Airline return ticket should be no. Applicable.
Not applicable. Oh, yes. Sorry. I have to fill that in as well. Yeah. So the conference fee is that. So I submit registration. Now, when this happens, Isaac and team now, it has failed. What did I do? What didn't I do right? Which error?
Phone contact, I think.
Or did I do it badly?
Yeah.
Let's just go over this again and see. I think I did it correctly. Must be something else. 256 772 706 289. That should be correct. Is there something else I've missed out? Yeah. Sorry, I just thought it was useful to do this because I know for many of us it's a mental block to go through this. Even me, I have to think through it, but it doesn't take very long to do this. Let's just check again. Is there something else? I hope this goes through. Please go through. Now, there's a server error. Is that happening on your side?
You need to change the browser. I think there's something wrong with the browser.
Okay. But the key thing here, it's seen me go through, and that is the registration part. The moment it goes through, I'll take this up later. The moment it goes through, then your name appears. We are trying to change something in the setup of this platform so that you also get an email at this point. What will happen beyond this, and maybe I'll hand it over to Isaac to take it beyond this and to explain the payment part, because this is important for us. If everyone here planning to attend does that today, it will let us know there are so many people coming. The next phase, if you're able to do it immediately, is the payment platforms. So I'll pause here, let Isaac take it to the next one to also show that so there are no questions on that. And then we can have a discussion. But thank you very much for your attention. And I very much look forward to seeing all of you at the alumni conference. Over to you, Isaac.
Thank you very much, Dr. Magara. And good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just take us through that before we get into the Q&A session, where you'll be allowed to ask questions about anything that maybe has not been very clear. So when you go to the registration section, let me just do that. Okay, I see some comments. Esther has successfully. Someone has failed. I don't think mine has succeeded. Okay. Please select an item in the list. Okay, there's something you've missed to select. The aspect of dinner. But let me go through it. It should just be something small. So we've gone through that already. Click the registration. You select the category you are registering under. Should I register Lorna? Because I've already registered, but for example's sake, I'll just register again.
Isaac,
Yes, Fred.
I think one of the ideas that comes to mind here is we may need to actually just do a quick video specifically on registration, which we share out, plus plus any potential challenges that people may encounter, and if they encounter, where do they go to, and all of that, so that we share it out on the WhatsApp groups, both for the people who are here, but even the other wider team members that are not here.
Yes, actually, Robert Mutiaba has already done this. He's recorded a video of himself, and I think he will share it later on. So do you want me to stop here and allow the Q&A to come in, or should I continue?
I think you can continue, but if you can continue so that we have an opportunity for those who are here to complete the process. Otherwise, it would be great that the team just gets this and we can share that link that that Robert Mutiaba has shared, has developed.
Right. Okay, so you go through that. This should be Ugandan delegates, not applicable. Is so when you click submit registration, it will give you a notification that registration was successful, and then it will bring you to this section where you can make payment. So here again, you select what you're paying for. When you click make payment, it will take you to the processing page, which is this. Here you can provide additional information that if it's going to be using either mobile money or Visa, would need that information for the payment platform to reconcile the registration with the payment that's been received. Just say it's email address. Okay, so it will confirm that that's exactly what you're paying for, 381,000, and then just say place order. So it will take you now to if everything is okay, it will take you to select what payment methods you would like to use, whether it is mobile money or Visa. Mobile money, whether it's Airtel or MTN, you can select it from here. So when this page loads, all you do is now select what you want. You can select, I want to use Airtel, I want to use Visa, I want to use PesaPal wallet if you have one. So once you select whatever it is you want to use, for example, here I'll use Airtel. You just enter in the number here without the country code because it's already catered for. And once you click proceed, you'll receive a notification on your phone just asking you to enter in your Airtel or MTN PIN. And once you do that, that will be it. You'll receive a notification that the payment has been received and your registration process is complete. You can choose not to come to this if you've had some challenges with the maybe the mobile money is not enough. You can leave it at that point. We can send you a payment link if as we follow you up. But basically, when you get to this point and click proceed and make payment, you'll be done with the registration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Thank you, Dr. Magara. Thank you, Isaac, for what has been shared. So we've had an opportunity to listen in the history of the STEP conference, the gatherings, what has happened, what has come out of previous engagements, the benefits that we're getting as a country. There's been a call for us to all register. There's been a call for us to get involved. I saw a comment from SSI in the chat. Share, please put a list of available roles and invite us to pick and choose. This will be redone. There are different committees, but I'm sure, again, we can do with more hands on various committees. Those will be reshared on the groups so that you can get to see and get involved, see how to get involved. So thank you. Over to you, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard the conference is really going to be practical. It's you know, the investment of 500,000 for the 5 days, including everything and the knowledge, is definitely, yes, money can be tight, but it's, I believe, a worthwhile investment. And we call on each and every one of us here to please register and get involved. I'd like to open it up now to any questions, the Q&A. Any other clarifications you might need, please put up your hand and let's get those questions answered. All right.
Fred, can I just ask, I see a number of people saying they have failed to complete. It may be useful to let them know who they can call. Some have succeeded, some haven't. Because typically with these things, once you fail, you put it on the shelf and you walk away. So
Absolutely.
if you can get that sorted out as early as possible, that would be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll invite Isaac to type details, share details on how the team can be followed up. Okay. Contact, so we can also know how to follow each and every one of them up and support them to complete their registration. Isaac, I'll request you. Isaac, Robert, I'll request you to please do that in the background. All right. Thank you. Any other question? Any question? Please put up your hand and mute, and then we will. Isaac has posted an email. Please connect on that. Any other clarification questions?
There's a question. Who is Techno-Come on 18? Please rename yourself such that we can know who this question is coming from. I see you're trying to register and you want to book for accommodation. If you're Ugandan and you would like to book for accommodation, please go ahead and select from the accommodation options shown there. But otherwise, there's an option to select not applicable at the bottom of each of those accommodation options or reservation for dinner options so that you can proceed with the registration, just like I demonstrated. So it's not needed, but if you need it, you can select it.
Okay, thank you. Isaac, in addition to the email address, we're able to give them a WhatsApp number. They can just WhatsApp and get supported. I think that might even be easy and fast as well. Okay, if there is, please do so. Dear friends, any other question related to the conference? Is there any other clarification you need? Now you know why we have the speakers that we have. You know a bit about the different speakers. You know about the format of the conference. You have quite a number of details. If there isn't, okay. Kindly share all the contacts on WhatsApp group. All right, we'll do that. Dr. Kansime, that's been noted. We will do that. All right. We'll share the emails and the WhatsApp details on the WhatsApp groups together with the website details. Good. I believe then, Dr. Magara, Isaac, you've done a good job in helping everybody come up to speed. We will share a video again to help you follow through. This meeting is being recorded on YouTube, so should you want to go back and revisit it, please use the YouTube link that's been shared on the group and you can get the details. Allow me at this point then to pivot and invite Robert and Mike in the background to then share and take us through to the next level. Some useful information about digital. We call it digital safety awareness. There is a lot that's competing for our attention. There's a lot that's competing for our children's attention online. How do we ensure their safety? Robert, would you please take it away from here? You will know how to collaborate with Michael. Mike, over to you. Robert Mutiaba, are you still here?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning.
Yes, we can hear you now, loud and clear.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing the meeting. Thank you, Dr. Magara, for what you have already taken us through. I am caught in between movements, and so I have shared a presentation with Isaac. I want to request him to display.
Robert, where did you share the presentation?
Yeah, please help me share the presentation.
Did you share it on email or WhatsApp?
Oh, it's on WhatsApp.
Okay. I don't seem to see it. Could you please reshare it?
What about Fred? Do you see it?
No, I can't see any presentation. I haven't received any presentation from your side.
Okay, just give me a second. I think I didn't complete uploading and I moved away, but I hadn't gone very far. Is Mike here? Mike could be taking it on as I get back to the computer.
Okay, Mike, over to you. You were telling us about different things we couldn't understand, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, things, things that we need to be aware of for our safety. Over to you, Mike.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mike Watampora. I hope things that we spoke about on the group are not too complicated. As we wait for Robert to align his devices and ensure that his presentation is visible to everybody, I'll just do a very quick overview of some of the things that we had a conversation about with Robert as he prepares the presentation. We spent some time talking about digital safety and what we can do to secure ourselves, secure our families, our nation, as far as online presence is concerned. Some of the things we explored was what are the responsibilities that we need to look out for? Who is in charge of what? And how can then these entities that are in charge of the different aspects of regulation within our country be of use or be helpful in helping us ensure that we are safe as much as possible when it comes to online content? We had a bit of chat about how the internet works, and just for you, I don't know if I've got permissions to present anything. I don't see an option to present anything, so I don't think I can present anything.
You can present. Just check for share in front of you.
Share, right? I see it. Thank you. And so some of the details that we shared, that we had a conversation with Robert, was to understand how the internet works. Want to understand that there are different players in the internet that we probably need to engage with, and the levels of engagement are going to differ. There's tier 1 operators that are really large scale operators, the likes of Google, level 3, huge internet service providers. They spend lots of money laying undersea fiber cable that connect different continents together, different regions together, and the like. And then there's a second tier level that purchase connectivity from these tier 1 levels and then bring them more inland. For example, in Uganda, we've got Seacom that gives us connectivity from Mombasa to Uganda. And also Seacom is a tier 1. They give us connectivity from Mombasa to the rest of the world. And lastly, the tier 3. These are the ones that you and I engage with. Zuku, UTL, Airtel, MTN, Simbanet, and the likes. And we explored different ways in which all these can be held responsible, or at least can assist in ensuring that we remain safe on the internet. Robert, I heard you talking. I don't know whether you found your presentation yet, or whether you've delivered it.
I beg your pardon?
Just verifying that you have your presentation with Isaac, that you can go ahead and do the presentation.
Just a second. I had driven out of the house, so I've just come back home. I wasn't very far. It was uploading on the laptop, and I thought I'd completed and shut down and left.
Okay.
So within a short time, I will have it up. Oh yeah, indeed, it shows that it didn't complete. Okay, but I could be beginning to talk about what is in the presentation to save time. And then when the presentation comes, we just run through quickly. Okay. So I basically gave it just the title, Digital Safety Awareness. And I'm beginning from a spiritual perspective that ideally we do have a duty, we do have a responsibility as servants of God, as children of God, as national transformers, to ensure that we are stewarding what God has given us to steward. So my first slide, when it comes on, you will see I basically put some scriptures on it that the perspective, Genesis 1:28, Ecclesiastes 9:10, Luke 10:19, 2 Corinthians 5:20, and Matthew 6:33, respectively, saying, then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Ecclesiastes says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might, for there is no work or device or knowledge or wisdom in the grave where you are going. Luke 10:19, behold, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means harm you. Just a second. Let me just post your email. Isaac to receive me. It's huge. I didn't realize. It's huge. Okay. Let me, in the meantime, rejoin the meeting on my laptop, and I'll be presenting until when it finishes uploading. That's when I'll start moving again. Please allow me in. You can tell Mommy to just wait. Isaiah, go and tell her. Wait. Okay, I am moving to. I'm moving now to put the presentation. Just realized it is loading very slowly. Maybe it won't even complete. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Ruben.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So I was running through those scriptures because they're really a powerful foundation for us to impress on us that we got to do something and we must do what we must do, because this mandate is on our hands. Productivity, fruitfulness cannot happen unless we are causing it to happen. And the generation after us is a generation that will steward this kind of fruitfulness. Behold, I give you the authority to trample on snakes and serpents and scorpions, and over all power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God was pleading through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. And then, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. This is just a little bit about myself. I will just skip over, but I was putting it here for the purpose of people who do not know me and my family. So let's look at the importance of systems. 1% of the people of the world control the world by establishing systems. And we know how we are right now struggling with a lot of things because people who do not have the moral system that is necessary to lead well are people who have taken over and are leading the world. We struggle and talk about Bill Gates, and of course, the other day we were also looking at the likes of Rockefeller and Rothschilds. But now also we see how YouTube will control what you can say out there, how Twitter will control what you can say out there, how Facebook will control what you can say out there. And this is the power of systems. It's very important that our STEP conference is actually on systems. 2% are their associates and family members. 5% work for and support these top 3. And 95% are ruled and controlled by these systems. Challenges of computers in this age, there are technical challenges like EMR radiations. And I think probably Mike might have more to say about EMR, but a couple of years ago, I got myself involved with a fight again about EMR, and the international information shows that the telephone radiations are not safe for our health. And there's a lot of research done in Canada, a lot of research done in Israel. In fact, I think in Israel, they have passed a law to mark computers as possibly carcinogenic. And there is a doctor called Deborah Davis. If you do Deborah is Debra, then Davis is Davis. DeborahDavis.org or .com is basically a researcher focused on mobile technology radiations. That is EMR radiations emitted by telephone masts, emitted by all the Wi-Fi devices we have, and it is emitted by the phones. And so there is now a terminology called electrosmog. If your eyes were to be open for you to see the radiations around, which we enjoy as Wi-Fi, you would see almost like you are sitting in smoke. And this smoke, electronic smoke, is actually not safe. I built a website in 2011. I was looking at us being in harmony with technology. It's called TH Harmony. TH Harmony. Yeah. No, sorry, TH Africa, Technology Harmony Africa. THAfrica.com. I'll post the link. And in that, there are quite a number of videos and information and World Health Organization pronouncement. And of course, we're also promoting a device that can reduce radiation. But research has shown can reduce fertility, can cause infertility, sperm count, low sperm count. It penetrates brain barrier for children. It brings about migraine, headaches, poor focus, and others. Just the radiation alone before you look at the usage. And then, of course, other challenges are hacking, indecent exposure, cyberbullying, AI tracking. Now, AI is taking the game to another level, and even bad associations. The scriptures I'm referring to here, basically, sexual parenting is a role we parents need to be able to play and play effectively, and timing is key. I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, do not stir up nor awaken love until it pleases. That's Song of Solomon 8:4. So there are quite a number of things that should be regarded as mature content without even being adult content. But you would not want your children to get involved until they're at a certain age. And then First Corinthians 2:2, for I determined not to know anything among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. There are many things we don't really need to know. And maybe that is how many of us have not been able to understand what is going on among us, because we've determined to know only Christ and him crucified. I remember being given this kind of warning in 2000, and maybe must have been 2004, when I was hearing about R. Kelly and following up those musicians who were singing songs like gospel songs in the US, but there is not even a word God or Jesus or a scripture. And someone was putting that to question, and the deeper I went, the Holy Spirit just rebuked me and gave me this scripture. Fraud, addictions, and development of dangerous habits, poor sleeping patterns, which results into health challenges, loss of concentration and focus, distraction due to excessive screen time, spiritual degradation, mind diversion into a warped thinking, and becoming an economic prey, local pornographic sites, data sale, data harvest, digital print. All of this has an economic aspect to it that the perpetrators are actually looking for, and we end up being trapped. More challenges we have as a country, we have weak legislation, implementation, and execution. Yeah, can blocking be done at ISP level? These are some of the questions that we have talked about in our group. Is lewd material that can be eliminated from streets? Yeah, if you just walk to the streets in the evening, or go in your community and see that little video library and just explore what they have in the video library, you will be amazed. It's just 1,000 shillings. But we do have laws. Why is there nothing being done? Stretched judiciary, low understanding of ICTs among implementers and law enforcers. Basically, generally, we have the Gen Z, the Gen X. Most of our enforcers and the people in charge outside of these two brackets. And so you find that one general thing about most of them is that they have very low understanding of ICTs. Bad examples, we have allowed in our country the glorification of bad examples, glorifying lewdness, people like bad black. They affect the focus and the will of our young people. If you see some of the things that you see at school events, these children are trying to dance like those people, trying to dress like those people, trying to do those kind of things. There is now a new wave of something called twerking, and you see all these kids in school trying to do the same things. But where do they get them from? They get them from these bad examples, allowing bad role models to mentor them. General acceptance of less than a strict stance on holiness and purity by the church. The church has also kind of given up, and this is very, 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 very worrying. I have been listening to some videos from Paulson. There's a man called David Paulson, probably the best Bible expositor and teacher of our generation, having lived way back from the times of the Billy Graham. The website is davidpaulson.org. David Paulson has a lot of resources that you can use, and most of it is free. You can download and just use. But I've been listening to church history, and I have seen the work that was done in the 18th, 17th, 18th century by men like John Wesley and his brother Charles Wesley. I didn't know about Charles Wesley, and Charles Wesley mostly wrote hymns. But the fight they had to put up for the church, people had to give their lives. And what are we doing today? You know, following a failed theology, especially from the American church, globalization and global influence, we know we tend to want to do things the way they are done in America, but we should seek to do things the way they are done in the Bible. And adverts targeting children, you know, pedophiles, online games targeting your bank card, in-app sales. If you ever gave a child to play a game and you live on internet, you know, there are things that are being popped up and are being popped up, and that's where the real catch is, and the child will end up installing and installing and installing and installing. And this can all be very challenging if you have given a device to a child and you've given the child internet, because the excuse and explanation is that the child needs the internet to study and the child needs the device to study. And so you now give them the device, and on and on and on the chain simply goes. Do not awaken love until it so desires. That is a warning in a Song of Songs. And to know Christ and to make him crucified. To know Christ and him crucified should be our goal. And we need to pass on that goal to our children. I have here some 10 reasons why use parental controls. This is from Norton. 1, help monitor your kids' devices. 2, allow you to manage what your kids find on search engines. 3, you can block certain features of games your kids can access. 4, may allow you to track your kids' location. 5, help establish good cyber safety habits. I mean, you help a child build a habit. Can set screen time limits, can help defend online reputation, digital footprint, because tomorrow you don't know what your child is going to be. When I look at, I've been following the US, you know, and so people post things, they are posting children of Trump and children of Obama and saying the comparison is clear and all of that kind of thing. The digital footprint is very important. I do not want, in fact, when I understood this, I now rarely post my pictures online. I rarely post my pictures online. It's different if you are a public figure, you may not avoid this, but I'm talking about the voluntary posting. Can help back up data, can teach you can teach cyber etiquette. Proper decision making is a cognitive skill that our children need to build, and they offer a lot of customization options. Current state of affairs, there is wide and easy access to dangerous sexual content on the internet. I've already talked about the lack or poor regulation. All social media is now sexualized. There is no platform you go to and it hasn't been sexualized. And you know why? because the social media brings together everybody without filter. When we are here as INT, we actually have a filter because we are all members of the Institute for National Transformation. And so because of that, we already are a certain category of people that are on this platform. But when you go to general social media, it is everybody. And when it is everybody, it is really everybody, coming from all manner of background and beliefs. And they will all judge that it's okay to post, and they will post anything. And that is how it becomes a very big problem. There is massive growth and spread of massage parlors, which are basically mere brothels around the city. We were talking about it the other day on the platform. I have been trying to do an imaginary count of these brothels around the city. I don't know if the statistics, I'll check Bureau of Standards, if they actually did take down any statistics about this kind of things. But seeing just around in Tinder, if you say spa and massage parlor around me, you'll see the whole map dotted. I look at that alone, I imagine that around the city, there might be up to like 5,000 parlors around Kampala city in the 5 divisions. We could be in that kind of numbers. And that is very, very staggering and worrying. There's vagrant growth of escort services, a strong precursor for pornography. You may be amazed. I just typed that in Google, and on the next screen, you are going to see what the results look like. So I will move on to the next one. Ignored and possibly unabated growth of pornography production and distribution. It's just amazing that this is beginning to happen and nobody seems to be paying attention. In fact, when the last time I had it raised in Parliament, I think people were saying we have more important things to talk about. We don't have time for pornography. And I think this is either a lack of understanding or the enemy has bought off people to resist it so that the industry can flourish. But we must push back. This started with exploitative foreigners, such as what they call sex tourism. And those foreigners have what? Yes. They created websites, and they would come here. We do not know that these guys are exploiting our girls. They exploit them. I don't know. Maybe some of them, they don't even know that they are being recorded, or they consent to that for some amount of money. But this is how it all started off, and it has been growing very, very terribly. Lack of will to continue for continuous monitoring and improvement by regulators and authorities. To be able to stem these things out, there is need for continuous monitoring to know when you have stemmed this, how is it morphing, how is it mutating into another form, so that you're continuously able to deal with weak information security framework, policies and laws, implementation and execution in the country. We have some frameworks, some policies that are in draft form, that are weak, that are good but not implemented. It's a whole mix of all of these things. But there is a way. A browser can provide a browser-based filtering, which again, you can use even on general family computers, so people are able to focus. I'm going to give you some screen example. Then there's Microsoft Family Safety for Windows users. There's Google Family Link for Android users. There's Screen Time for Apple users. There is a lot of general tools that fall. The names will still be around that. Family, parental control, screen time. If you just search for safety, online safety, if you just search that in the apps, you'll find so many apps. I have a screen where I compared so many of them. I'll look it up and I'll just post it on our group. But here there's Kaspersky Safe Kit. I've given this to a couple of parents. Kaspersky provides it. The beauty with it is that you'll protect all the devices using the same tool. And so you reduce on your administrative work. That's the problem if you have to use a Google device, and Windows, you use Microsoft or Microsoft device, then you have a lot of work to do. For people who use Linux, there's something called Gatekeeper for Linux users and many others. This is a search that I just did on the same keywords on my computer. So it escort services in Uganda, and the filter is turned on, as you can see. And that is all you could get. Three hits. 3 hits. I don't know what is in them. One is an article in New Vision. This one is coming from Useful Idiot, guys who run escort services, richest chaps in Uganda, about to eat well with the NAM conference. I think that was during the NAM conference. I don't know what that post is about. I see it's called Zero Brain. And then that one. But when you turn off that search protection, just see, hell breaks loose. You have Uganda hot girls, you have exotic Uganda, you have Uganda escorts, you have Uganda hot girls. You know, it's just too much that is just right there. And these are literally pornographic websites that are in our country that are going on. I see hookups, I see Eurogirl escorts. These are some of the foreign ones which are also operating here and so on. Okay. What are the general characteristics of the tools that we can use to filter? We already went through them in detail, but I can summarize them in 3. Filtering and restricting content, controlling usage, duration and time brackets, and then monitoring access and user activity, be able to know what the child is doing. The protection can be at the level of internet device. If we are using now, like in my home here, I got a call from Airtel and they gave me a 5G router at no cost. And so I put it at home. But that type of router could have protection that you can activate right at the internet device before you even go to the apps that people are using. And if you have TP-Link, I use the TP-Link version to just show you a screen where you can have, you know, you can activate parental controls on your internet device at home. And maybe this could be reason why one would try to avoid the tethering from the phone or avoid just using a small MiFi, and they go and get a proper internet connection router that has specific features they need, and specifically in this case, features to protect your children. Google Family Link is an app I've shared on our group that you can download from Google Store and install on your phone and on the one of the children. You can create an email address for your child. Specifically, you have to specify that you are the parent and the child has got to be 13 years and below. But in Uganda, we know that this is not even the case. We want to protect higher age. Just know that on that, you will have to pretend about the age if you want it. Otherwise, it will say the child is already an adult. Sign in on the child's device and then approve from the parent's email address. And once you've connected the 2 devices, then you are good to go. You will be able to control the child's device using your device. So you do not have to be home. You do not have to be around. You can specify the number of hours or minutes that a child can be on the device in a day, and also from what time to what time. So even if the internet is there and the device is there, the child will only go on when it is the right time. And then also they will manage their time that is provided. Of course, here comes in a challenge that if you got teenagers, they could buy their own devices and then they can be on anytime. They could also buy their own devices and buy their own data. There are quite a number of intricate things there, but that from the family sphere, it goes back to parenting and being able to have present in the lives of your children and being able to provide time to your children. These things will not happen behind your back if you are a present parent. Then the features, you will view kids' app activity via regular reports, easily locate kids when you go out, allow to remotely lock and supervise device, you could remotely actually do what? Lock a device of your child, hand the notifications to let you manage their apps. Like if they want to install an app, they send you a request to approve. Or if you are present, you approve on their device manually. You have to put in your password for that installation to happen. Otherwise, they have no right to install any apps. You can set the time limits. I've already said that. Safe Kids, similar things. Works for all Android, iOS, PC. And like I said, why I've included this one just is because with Safe Kids, you will be able to use the same to manage all, whether you have a PC and a phone and a tablet. You can install the one again for parents and install on the child's device, and then you use an access code to control. Then once you've logged into the platform with your email address, you can do detailed settings. These screens that are playing and changing there are just showing you different things. You will see reports that will show a child's online activity, an option to let the child see notifications you get. That is an option, and you might just want to use it as a deterrent, that when you are notified, the child also sees the notification. And the child can request access to an app, which then the parent can approve. Kaspersky Safe Kids is, that is it about Kaspersky Safe Kids. Let's move on to Apple. When you use Apple, it's just right there on the menu. It really comes in built. That's why I love Apple. It comes in built, works for your iPhone, iPad, Mac computer, but it starts from iOS 12. Only devices that have 12 will be able to do this, but you can go the level of limiting which apps the child can use on the iPhone. So it could have all the apps, but if you restrict the apps, the child will not see the apps that you don't want them to see at all, even if they are installed on that same device. Then you will also be able to set limits based on your contacts, communication limits. Do you want the child to be able to add the contacts to the phone, communicate with people who are not in their contacts or not? Can you allow your child to change settings or not, And then content and privacy restriction goes down to the level of you being able to specify books, audio, material type by material type, just not websites. Then, of course, as the child grows, here I just wanted to show the devices that qualify if you are in Apple. As the child grows, then you will shift to, you will keep adjusting your restrictions as the child grows. So it's parenting, it helps you to gradually also mature the child digitally. A DPA here is just parental advisor, digital parental advisor. It's just my abbreviation. It's not anything very special. Microsoft Family, again, it's a similar app. Again, you will be able to use it to protect your loved ones with digital and physical safety features. Can be used on all devices that use Microsoft. It comes with a free version and a paid version. You can go to get the app in the Microsoft App Store. Digital parenting has costs. Some of the apps have costs. Google Family Link is free. The screen time of Apple is free. Microsoft is not free. Kaspersky is not free. Yeah. So Kaspersky can be antivirus based. You could just, if you're using Kaspersky, include this function in your Kaspersky. And the configurations, capacity, and capabilities will vary, but Kaspersky is sufficient if you had that. Hello? I told me I was muted. Pricing for parental control. Pricing for parental control. Apps range between $15 and $100 a year. In this category, there are also some terrible apps, terrible in the sense that they go beyond parenting and they become synopy, you know, like I have seen like Spy, I think Emac Spy, there's Hoover, something Hoover. Those ones are intrusive, very invasive. If you use such an app, you actually can read even SMS messages and WhatsApp. Any communication on the phone can be seen. I don't think I recommend those because they're not very positive for relationships. Probable solutions, build awareness. We need to build awareness among executive, among church leaders, among the legislature, among parents forums, schools, and forums like this one, even among the children themselves. There is an angle to approach it when you're dealing with the children. Legislation, civil society action, and ISP to whatever case is possible. And I think Mike is a better authority on this one. Digital parenting, implement available solutions. Call to action, we need to coordinate sensitization efforts, provide information, guides, tools, and support. I got a bit caught up, but my dream now, my goal is to write what I'm calling the digital parenting handbook, so that with that handbook, you build the awareness, you provide the tools, you empower. And then also record some videos, like since the demand has dictated, so I'll record a series of these videos, at least showing how, since most people use Android, how to configure the Android and how to get it activated to protect your children. But there can be a lot of other tools and support that we can do, and maybe probably through partnerships make available across many platforms and organizations that are in this space. Engage government and policymakers. I put here some examples. For example, the Technophone comes with a Phoenix browser, which is a data browser. It is locked in there. You can't uninstall it. And I think that's very easy. I mean, I don't know. Mike might advise on this, and maybe the lawyers. But why wouldn't UCC say, Techno, you're bringing a phone that has a browser that we do not want in our country. Please either remove your phone from the market or unbundle the browser. The way we authorize which medicine can be brought here through NDA, I think needs to become the way we authorize even these digital devices now, that there is an authority that is able to determine that this is not suitable for our industry, and so it is not allowed here. And then to not be allowed. I just hate the Technophone. I just hate the Technophone. It's very, very invasive. Then I have seen those who call themselves investors. I try to look around to see if I can give a very, very practical example. I search for those news bulletins. I couldn't remember which ones I have seen people with or post, and they are just completely not acceptable. When I find one, I'll share it. We need to engage parents, engage schools, and basically focus on this. I say what else, because these are my thoughts, but we can all put on the table quite a number of thoughts based on this exposition. I think I'll stop here, and we can have some Q&A and some discussion. And since I was moving, I am going to move away from the PowerPoint, and I will now talk using the phone.
Thank you very much, Robert, for the insightful presentation. Indeed, there is so much in front of us that should cause us to worry. There is danger lurking within our midst that we never get to pay attention to. And it's just right under our noses. And as you're talking about these, and especially related to the children, it's very interesting that the children probably know a lot more than we do about these things. and there are steps ahead of us. So how do we increase awareness as parents, as those responsible for these other younger people? We really need to catch up with the pace of the younger ones if we are to help them save them from themselves, as they may not necessarily make the right decisions. It's 4 minutes to 11. I will request that we'll probably use another 15 minutes for any other questions, answers. There's some other things, maybe go till about 11:15, if you don't mind. Mike was talking about things to do with deactivate your Bluetooth, deactivate. He talked about a couple of things that some of us didn't even know existed on our phones. It will be good for us to pay attention to those. But otherwise, I'd love to, maybe Mike could speak to it as I open up. If there are any questions, please type them in there, or just put up your hand right now, and let's have them answered. But Mike, I will want to request you to talk about those things that you told us to be aware of on our phones to deactivate. All right. Richard Lutalo, you have your hand up. Please unmute and go straight to ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And thank you for the presenters and Chairman Mike. I just want to inquire from the presenters. Yes, Tiaba started by saying that the people who do not have a moral fiber to lead us, but I think a moral obligation to be on top of the ladder. But I think the main issue is, isn't it because they have built systems and they're in position to create these products? And even on the basis of the presentation, they realize that there is people like us who are more or less on the moral side of things, and they have created still on their products a number of platforms to try also to bring in clients of our nature, parental control, this and the other. Well, I think want it to be in the light of the upcoming conference that we need to build the foundations from the building a moral system, a system of moral development from the grassroots. Because when you look at this, the parental control, they are within the confinements of the oikos, of the household. But these children, they spend most of the time away from the homes. So my observation would be perhaps that we need to build, even as Oakseeds, as projects, even as influencers, even with the governance sphere, how to build the system of moral development to make sure that wherever we go, these children are going to encounter these technologies, because people have created the products. Unless we create counter products and we root them into the world, that's when we are going to be able to control this, because technology has come and definitely it's here to stay. Thank you. I just want to comment on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Richard. So you're saying we put the controls in the hearts of the children as much as we pursue the controls and the gadgets. Okay. Thank you. Any other question or comment, please? I did not know. Richard, you may put down your hand, okay? I didn't know that the phonics thing was already ingrained in the technos, that you can't uninstall it. Do you have any other question, dear friends? Okay, allow me to invite then Robert to speak to that, and Mike, for you to please talk about what you were telling us to be aware of and ensure deactivated, and how it could be hacked, how we tend to give away information without even knowing on our phones. Briefly, over to you, Tim.
Okay. I think in the most part, Richard's submission is a contribution and less of a question. But he makes very important observations, and they are true. And I think they lend credence to the fact that we need to engage different approaches to deal with the matter, because you cannot deal with it only at the filtering level of those device apps that I have talked about. You also need to build the moral fiber of the children. But then he also talks about systems, and I think I addressed myself to it, that those people are able to do what they do because they build systems, and they know that there are people like us, so they provided something for us. But I also think that the legislative perspective is also important. That is what the world will enlist on us, that should be regarded as unacceptable. So my conclusion is to say that Mr. Lutalo indeed submits that we need a multi-pronged approach to be able to deal with this issue. Multi-pronged approach from many, many perspectives. You want to empower the child, you want to empower the parent, but you also want to do it at many other different levels. I think that's how I can summarize in terms of response, and maybe the other part would be what Mike can speak to.
Okay, thank you very much. Good thing is, Robert, you hit the business sphere. I'm sure we can have some other side conversations on how we take this forward in terms of influencing the space. Over to you, Mike. Mike says, oops. I saw your chart. You posted something, Mike. Mike, over to you, please, for the next few minutes as we close.
Thank you, Fred. The comment was to Barbara Semire's statement that I welcome the idea of writing a book and appreciate. I'm looking forward. Just pointing out that Noah Balesov, I believe, on Oakseed as well, has written a book on digital hygiene a few years back. So it's something that I could possibly get into to understand some of these things a bit better. On the matter that you have pointed out, Fred, a lot of what Robert has pointed out is more than accurate in terms of what these companies do. If I can quickly just share my screen again. Earlier on, I was talking about the different people that exist on the network. There are content providers that exist on our networks whose purpose of existence is making money out of online media, online content, online material. And their way of making money from that is you are the product. What you're seeing on your screen is not the product. You are the product. You are where they make their money from. And they make their money by selling a lot of information that they gather from our devices. A lot of the content providers that we visit off our mobile devices, YouTube, Google themselves, all the different applications that we have collect a lot of information about us, lots of information. They'll connect your GPS location. They'll collect information about your Wi-Fi connectivity. They'll connect information about your internet service providers. They'll connect information about your contact details, and they'll begin to draw maps of connectivity between you and other people. When you have your Bluetooth devices on, Bluetooth these days, Bluetooth 5 going forward does what is called a find other devices. And it will automatically begin to scout for other devices in the network that have got Bluetooth turned on, even if you've never connected to them, and build a network of connectivity to track where you are, who you are with, who is around you, the GPS location of where you are at the point where it tracked all these devices. And then they build a web of connectivity and a profile that uniquely identifies you. They use this information to then target advertisements to you, target products to you, target services to you, and the people that you're around. Every single mobile device, if you go to your settings and you go to your accounts and you go to Google, and go down all the way, drill down into it and look for what is called device ID. Google puts it right out there and tells you this device, this ID is used to uniquely identify your device to advertisers. You are the products, they're selling your information, and all they gather about you to as many people as they possibly can to be able to ensure that they can drive products and services to you. So what happens if you're in your office and one of your colleagues is constantly on websites that are contain adult content, for a lack of better term, and you are in proximity of this person a lot with your Bluetooth on, with your Wi-Fi on, and you're exchanging data with them, and they're in your address book, you're in their address book, you'll be found very easily. So don't be surprised when you begin to see content popping up on your screen that you have never bothered with, yet your next door neighbor or your colleague that sits right next to you or across from you visits such content. So you need to be aware of your device, what you can do with it, what you can do in it, how to disable some of these things and some of these features so that you can safeguard yourself. The good thing is that thanks to the GDPR, the UK becoming very strong, and I believe the EU as well, on being able to manage these details to as much depth as you can, a lot of these organizations now give you opt-out options. I sit on my phone and spend a good 1 hour making sure that I go through my settings periodically to disable anything that would otherwise give people information about me. Applications that I install, I restrict their access. Do not access my contact, do not access my messages, do not access my Wi-Fi, do not access my location until I give you permission to do so. This information that they gather is useful for them to build their businesses. The challenge is who manages the content, who manages the privacy, who manages what they do with all this information. There's no regulation or little regulation to different people on, there's little regulation on what the service providers can be able to do or not do, offer you or not offer you. So it's basically a business running what they need to run to make their profits, regardless of who is getting injured or who is getting inconvenienced in the process. Who is responsible for online behavior? Robert has presented a very excellent solution for us. We are primarily responsible. You, for yourself, for your children, for your family, you are the primary person that are responsible for any online behavior. The devices are ours. They're in our hands. We need to get to the point where we begin to take charge and take responsibility for all the devices that we have. Get into them, learn their settings, disable all the things that you do not need to be able to keep yourself safe. I will do a video as well, similar to what Robert has shared on the Oakseed group, on how you can be able to get into your phone and be able to disable as much of this tracking information as you possibly can. Beyond your phone, every online service that we sign up for has also got this tracking information. With the advent of AI, they're using our information to train AI to be able to apparently serve us better. LinkedIn changed their privacy policy with just an announcement of, we've changed our privacy policy, click here to accept. If you read the privacy policy, you'll find out that they now use your content that you post on LinkedIn to train the AI to be able to connect you to other like-minded people. Facebook does the same, WhatsApp does the same, Google does the same, and so many of these other online platforms that we get into. Ours is to be aware about it and to be able to know that we can stop it and not allow them to use material or content or information that is ours to then build their business of advertising with everybody else around us. If your children are near someone and their Bluetooth devices are turned on their phones, and it pings with someone who accesses stuff that your eyes should not be seeing, eventually, if you don't have the protective mechanisms, then some of the ads that this other person has been getting into will begin to pop up on their phone, on their search, on their search results, on some of the ads that are going to show up on the web pages that they visit. Responsibility is ours. We need to be able to learn what's on our devices and be able to configure them so that we are safe on the internet. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Mike. Somebody said privacy is overrated. We think we are private until you get to realize what is happening out there. Or like the Hezbollah people, fighters got to find out this week. Thank you very much for the enlightening presentation and comments. It will be really great to have those videos to demonstrate to people on how we can actually get, practically deactivate some of those things, or what you just talked about in the last one. That your Bluetooth is on, another person's Bluetooth is on, and then it pings, and then the other person's content, could start popping up. There is a lot that we need to be aware of. But at the same time, I guess it also presents opportunity for us to say, how do we pass on the good news? How can we leverage this same technology for good, for passing on the good news to the rest of the people? I guess it would be a great idea if the people are, through the pinging that happens without awareness, if people are actually getting great news of salvation and transformation of their lives. So again, let's explore those. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Oakseeds, we will organize other sessions in the future to see how we can improve our awareness. We can walk with our eyes open and with greater clarity. Thank you very much once again, Dr. Magara. Thank you for the presentation earlier on. Robert and Mike, thank you for the enlightening presentations. And once again, Isaac and the entire team that's behind the organization of STEP Conference, thank you for the great work that you are doing. Let's all register. Let's actively get involved and make sure that this is a success. God bless you and keep you well. Thanks, bye.